Hello, citizens of the Nigelverse. It is Nigel here once again, and this is going to be another wrestling review. It's been a while since we've done a wrestling review, and this one in particular, in fact, all three of these that are being uploaded today, are a long time coming. But we are here. The party ain't over yet. I made it just in time, hopefully. So it's time to finally do what the NXT talent did back on April 19th, about a month ago, so I'm not that late. Right? But it's time to finally stand and deliver this review of NXT Stand and Deliver. So, of course, as always, I am not professional wrestling reviewer or analyst or anything like that. Just a man who enjoys a good time. And I definitely had a really good time with this show. A lot of really good stuff on this show. But what exactly happened? Who walked out victorious? Who didn't? And what went down? Let's find out. Now, if you've seen these reviews of mine before, you kind of already know how this works. But if you haven't, I'm gonna be talking about what I liked and disliked about each match. We're gonna go match by match in in the order here or that the matches took place on the show. That made no sense, but we're gonna go through each match. We're gonna talk about what happened. Admittedly, watching this, I didn't watch it live. I ended up missing it. I ended up watching it a couple weeks later. I actually finished it. Technically by the time this video goes up yesterday, but it's 10 o'clock on Monday night as I'm recording this on Memorial Day. So I do hope you enjoyed your Memorial Day. Hey, your Memorial Day weekend, if you celebrate, that is. But I actually didn't finish watching the show um, actually earlier on today. As of recording this, obviously it'll be going up tomorrow, that being Tuesday. But you get the picture, you get the idea. But yeah, so I ended up finally finishing it, and I'm definitely glad I did. So without further ado, there was that. But it's also a bit awkward in hindsight, because a lot of people who were on the show ended up getting released. There was a big round of releases that happened and on May 2nd, I should say, only a couple weeks after the show. So a lot of people who were on this card, or it really impacted. We got some main roster releases, but a lot of the releases came within NXT, which really really sucked. But we're going to go through here. We'll obviously talk about the releases as they come up as we get to the talent that was released. It's of course always sucks when people lose their jobs, and people are released. But a lot of these releases as well were also pretty baffling. And some, I would say, a I'm not gonna say made sense, but was somewhat understandable, I guess. But yeah, some were pretty questionable. Starting with this first match in Fatal 4-Way tag team action, as Gigi Dolan and Hayden Paxley battled Cora Jade and Roxanne Perez. Fatal Influence, that being Fallon Henley and JC Jane, and Metaphor, that being Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson. And then, sorry if you heard a very loud sound. My neighbor has a very loud car, and they were driving off up down the street. It looks like at this time of night, but eh, oh well. But yeah, this match is especially what I meant by that, because unfortunately, Gigi Dolan and Cora Jade and Jakara Jackson were all released after this match. And Shotzi, I don't know if she's full on released just yet, but I know she did not renew her contract. She decided not to renew her contract, so she is departing as well. Oh, and pretty upsetting. Like I said, always when people are no longer working, and they are still within their non-compete phase, but always upsetting when people lose their jobs, but especially with Metaphor, considering what would happen a couple weeks later. But we will get to that. In the meantime, for this match actually was on the countdown, the pre-show, which actually made it into the feed, so I ended up kind of sort of watching it on accident, and I'm not upset at it, and I am glad I was able to check out this match because it was still relatively fun. All eight ladies involved all did relatively well, including the extra people on the outside, that being Jasmine Nix for Fatal Influence and Shotzi for Gigi Dolan and Tatum Paxley. Um, but the action was pretty fun. This was elimination style. It was the format of one-on-one, and you tag people in, which I absolutely hate. But I guess there's no point in complaining about it because I've complained about it plenty on the channel already. Uh, but yeah, there is that aspect. But otherwise, the action was pretty fun for the most part. Metaphor was eliminated first followed by Cora and Roxanne. After Roxanne left Cora high and dry, I walked out on her after taking a move, and then Gigi Dolan and Tatum Paxley ended up winning. So this was the crown number one contenders for the W Women's Tag Team Championship, which Dolan and Paxley would end up losing. But yeah, still pretty interesting, fun match. But like I said, to the people who were released, wishing them all the best. But it's even more baffling because as Oro Mensa, who was also released from Metaphor, so half of Metaphor is gone. They had a segment, and Noam Dar had came back, won the Heritage Cup back from Lexus King, and they had a segment where the Metaphor officially split up. But they were talking about them going their separate ways, and going and doing things on their own, just for then Oro Mensa and Jakar Jackson to end up being released. So it's really, really weird how they went about doing that. I imagine, and I guess the plan was to break them up just to release them, but that's pretty messed up, and pretty confusing how they went about doing that. I guess you can't say the quiet part out loud, but in this case, they almost came close to doing it. We just didn't realize it yet. But nevertheless, still pretty decent match there. But next up for the NXT North American Championship, Ricky Starks, or Ricky Saints, I should say. Yeah, I actually call him Starks. Ricky Saints defended against Ethan Page. So these two had been feuding for a bit. It's especially because Ricky Saints had just come in and wanted to do what Ethan Page did, that being winning championship gold in NXT, but faster, which he ended up doing by beating Sean Spears for the NXT North American Championship. And they bring up the shared history between these two men, which is pretty much code for AEW. But that's brought about this feud here, and as of recording this, even after Stand and Deliver, they're still feuding, and they just had a confrontation at Battleground. So it looks like they're gonna keep the feud going along. But this match, for starters, this is the match that got the Tony Fumble chant, which admittedly was kind of funny. He a little bit cringe, sure, but also really funny at the same time. I mean, I'm sure some would agree. But this match also, other than that, was still pretty fun. On a lot of fun action between the two. Even Ricky Saints busting out some of that high flying that he's known for, and seeing them go after each other was pretty cool. And Ethan Page working the more methodical, uh, methodical, smart in a way style, contrasting to Ricky Saints' more flashy style and everything, and ultimately Ricky picking up the win and over Ethan Page with the Rochambeau, which Ricky doesn't really do it running anymore, or I think he did run for this Rochambeau, but this match was still pretty fun, and between the two, and Who and yeah, so Ricky Saints is still NXT North American champion, but like I said, and still feuding as of this recording. But next up for the NXT Tag Team Championship, Hank and Tank, that being Hank Walker and Tank Ledger, first seek to take the NXT Tag Team Championships from Fraxium, that being Nathan Frazier, Axiom, of course. Hank and Tank had been a team for a little bit. It's but they eventually won a tag team gauntlet to face Fraxium for the titles at Stand and Deliver. So, this was all about stepping up for Hank and Tank. This was all about them stepping up as a team and really stepping up to the challenge to be able to take the NXT Tag Team Championships from Fraxium. And this match definitely stole the show. We're gonna get obviously through the rest of the matches, but letting you guys know right now, this was match of the night. Both teams did incredible. So many near falls, a lot of fun action, especially from Nathan Frazier Axiom, but Hank and Tank also did their thing, and Hank and Tank end up winning the match, becoming the NXT Tag Team Champion. And it's a pretty feel good moment, and they don't get the handshake, but they do get the hug from Fraxia, and a hell of a performance between the two. So now Hank and Tank are tag team champions. At time of recording, it looks like Fraxium has been officially called up. They were on SmackDown. They were fighting for the tag team championships. If so, very nice and a hell of a run, I would say, for Fraxium, which it looks like they're staying a team for now on the main roster, which is fantastic. I love those two as a tag team, and seeing them continue to stay together even on the main roster is great. I also do want to see them pursue solo stuff as well while also staying a tag team and kind of go the New Day route but we'll see if that is the case. Yeah, so congrats to Hank and Tank, and hell of a match. Like, this match was so much fun, just action on top of action, pretty much from the word go. And the fact that Fraxion has managed to steal the show at just about every NXT event, and definitely hope that they get a sizable push because of that. Now that they're seemingly on the main roster. But next up for the NXT Women's North American Championship, which was vacated because Stephanie Becker beat Julia to become double champion. So the NXT Women's North American Championship was vacated, and it's going to be up for grabs in a ladder match. They love doing that. This might be kind of an unpopular opinion, maybe a hot take. I always hate when they do that. At just to like win both titles, just to drop up one of them. Usually the North American Championship. Immediately afterwards. The other one I can think of, because I think they've done it a couple times, but the other one I can think of that's happened was when Keith Lee was and won the NXT Championship while still being North American champion, and he ended up relinquishing the North American title. Yeah, them holding both titles, I guess, in a way protects them so that, excuse me, they don't necessarily have to drop one of the titles, but it is really annoying every time they do that. Nevertheless, so Stephanie Becker no longer women's North American champion, so it's going to be contested in a ladder match. Sol Ruka, Izzy Dame, Kilani Jordan, Lola Vice, Thea Hale, and Zarya are all competing for the championship. And of course, Kalani, the only one of these to have been women's North American champion before, so looking to become a two-time champion there. The rest is looking to win it for the first time here. And this match was a lot of fun. This match had a lot of fun action. And of course, you know me, I'm a sucker for ladder matches, so that might also have something to do with it. But yeah, this match, they definitely, the ladies definitely tore the house down. Some scary moments, some moments that didn't look great, but But it happens, and Ruka with probably one of the best soul snatchers there's ever. Her and the way it hey, there's a reason why the soul snatcher is probably one of a lot of people's favorite moves. Who's currently at this time? It's not quite Booker T's favorite move. We'll get to what his favorite is later on in the show. Oh, and if you know, you know. But the way she delivers the soul snatcher is always really fun. It's essentially kind of a cutter with an extra step, but damn, it looks good. But yeah, so Soul, who they do have an interaction between her and Zarya, who, of course, hers are kind of a kind of been a team for some time now. They have an interaction when they're on the ladder. They eventually come to blows, but ultimately, Sol Ruka picks up the win and is now the new NXT Women's North American Champion. And she is still, at the time of this recording, still the NXT Women's North American Champion. And so far, at the time of this recording, everybody who either wins or retains the title on this card is still champion. Granted, it's only been like a month, but a lot can change in a month. But so far, everybody who won here is still their respective champion. But yeah, so congrats to Sol Ruka, very very fun match. But next up in 6-man tag team action, Dark State, who is being represented here by Dion Lennox, Osiris Griffin, and Saquon Sugars, takes on the D'Angelo family, that being Tony D'Angelo, Channing Stacks Lorenzo, and Luca Cruzifino, who are accompanied, of course, by Adriana Rizzo. These two have been going at it for some time, but also who have been going at it is Tony D'Angelo and Stacks, Axe the Don and the Underball. Stacks kind of branching out on his own kind of calling his own shots, not sticking to the plan, and Tony getting very upset by it. Meanwhile, Dark State hates continuing to kind of bolster themselves and grow in power in a way within NXT, including beating all three of the people who in 6-man tag action who will be in the main event for the NXT Championship. But obviously, we'll get to that in a little bit. But yeah, so. Family versus family, I guess, and of course the Dark State, which I think this is the first time I've had the opportunity to talk about them and their dynamic, like pretty similar to the Shield, which I mean, looking at the Shield, and looking at their success they've had both as a team and after they split off as a team, um, uh, hence, if there's anyone you want to copy the homework of, it's definitely the Shield. But instead of 3 people, it's 4 people, and pretty much causing chaos all throughout. This going into it, this match was pretty fun. So and I get to see. I think this is the first match I've gotten to see actually of Dark State. So, being able to see what they're all about, and seeing their dynamics. Osiris Griffin is kind of like the Roman Reigns of the group, who kind of being like the big muscle. Saquon Sugars is kind of the leader, or so kind of here, but also kind of a wild card. They put over on commentary, so kind of like Seth Rollins mixed with like early Dean Ambrose. Mixed with like later Dean Ambrose when he kind of like stepped down from that leadership position and became more like the crazy wild card of the Shield in like the later days of the OG Shield. I'm not talking about like the reunion or anything, but 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 seeing how their roles are laid out, how is pretty interesting to see, and the action between both sides was pretty fun. I do wish this match was kind of tornado style, where or instead of like tags, just have them go all out against each other. I didn't hate that format. At Elder Shield had to do the 6-man traditional tag format, and it worked really well, especially in the match against against the Wyatt family at Elimination Chamber 2014. But part of me does wish we got to see we got to see them in tornado action. It would have made it even better. But this match still really fun and really good. But this match very much a showcase of Dark State, but also showing more of the dissension within the D'Angelo family, especially with Tony not really coming to the aid of Stacks and Stacks wanting to branch on his own. Ultimately, it culminates Hayes in a low blow from Stacks to Tony D'Angelo. So Stacks X has turned on the Don. Not the last low blow we'll see here in WrestleMania weekend, but um, yeah, so Stacks officially turns on the Don on Lucas, still kind of at crossroads, and even at Battleground when Tony and Stacks will eventually face off. We'll get to that review hopefully within the next few days. But even when they got to even when once they got to Battleground, Luca's allegiance, loyalty still very much up in the air, still in question. But the family is seemingly no more, or at the very least in a free fall. But we'll get into that more when we get to Battleground. But yeah, so Stacks turned on Tony D'Angelo, and Darkstay was able to pick up the win. I will say, hey, they borrowed a lot of elements from the Shield, including the kind of triple power bomb, but now they turn into a quadruple power bomb because it's for them. But I will say instead of going the route of the traditional triple power bomb, them like lobbing the guy up to the two of them that hold him up, kind of lobbing the person up to the other two people on the other side for them to finish the power bomb is admittedly really cool. But yeah, so Dark State picks up the win there. Actually back there. Next up in the semi-main event, and in Fatal 4-Way action for the NXT Women's Championship, Stephanie Vaquer, her defense against Julia, Jada Parker, and Jordynne Grace. Excuse me. So 4 women who have really been gunning for or the or the championship as of late. We've seen in the dynamic between Stephanie and Julia. They were friends. Julia ended up turning on Stephanie after taking some time off after having lost the NXT Women's Championship. She came back. She turned on Stephanie Vaquer. Her Jordynne Grace has made her presence known. She showed up officially part of the NXT roster, excuse me, at Vengeance Day. Hey, Jada Parker, I have to see how she came to be within this match. So, we're going to have to who we have to look here. Okay, hey, so. Parker is gunning for the spot, and then added to Fatal 4-Way. So, okay, so that's fine, but or actually, let me see here. Grace Faith Parker. Okay, so Jordynne Grace face Jada Parker. Match ended no contest as after Vaquer interfered, and then Julia showed up, and that's when she turned heel, and that's when it became Fatal 4-Way. Okay, hey, I got it. All right. This is what happens when you don't watch from week to week when you miss some weeks. But nevertheless, it's led to this Fatal 4-Way match here. Her now. Admittedly, this match in terms of the scope of the match, in terms of the competitors, Jada kind of the dark horse, but she's still their thing. I think all 4 women did really well within the course of this match, and played their roles really well. The spot where her Jada did kind of the hip thrust downward onto all 3 women when she stacked them up in the corner was pretty cool. While Stephanie doing the doing the I forget the name of the move. It's the one that makes Booker T essentially go wild though. Well, doing it to all 3 ladies was pretty funny. Seeing Booker T's reaction was pretty funny. There was even a Booker T chant after it was delivered on all 3. But Jordan got an extra couple. Well, Stephanie, what the hell? But seeing Booker absolutely lose it, hit over that move admittedly was pretty funny. But ultimately, yeah, Stephanie picking up the win in this match. And so really fun match, really fun action between all four ladies. And all four ladies, I think, really had a lot of time to shine, and it was really cool to see how they crisscross and interact between each other. Her plenty of cool like fatal four way type spot hot, so that was really nice. So yeah, pretty fun match in that regard. But last certainly not least, for the NXT Championship in triple threat action, Obafemi, the ruler of NXT, defends against both Javon Evans and Trick Williams. So, Javon really trying to assert himself into the main event position. Trick Williams has become Crash Out Trick and really going the heel route, the going the route of say Drew McIntyre or in a way Hangman Adam Page, but it's led to this match here. The friendship and friendly rivalry between Javon and Trick is totally out the door. Or Trick has said Javon doesn't belong in the main event spot, even though he's been in the main event spot multiple times now up to this point. But I'm not going to argue with Trick's logic, I guess. But uh, let's now let's this triple threat here, and this match was a lot of fun. All three men especially killed it. I think having this match over the women's in the main event. Hence, honestly, I could see it going either way, but I think between the two who matches the NXT women's and the NXT championship, I think I did prefer this match more, but yeah, both matches still really fun, but especially this match, Javon with a really cool double cutter, or a trick with a flip even in the match, which was really shocking. But ultimately, Oba picking up the win. First powerbombing Trick on Javon, and then nailing the powerbomb onto Javon in order to pick up the win. So Oba does retain in a pretty fun match and pretty fun way to close out the show. Here. So that was NXT Stand and Deliver. Finally, yeah, I know it was a month late, but thank you all once again for your patience. If I had to pick the strongest and weakest match of the night, I guess now including the pre-show, in terms of for the strongest, definitely the NXT Tag Team Championship match. That match was a whole lot of fun, just all kinds of fun action from start to finish. If I had to pick the weakest match of the night, it probably uh probably the North American Championship match, just compared to everything else. They did well, but compared to everything else, I think I'm gonna go with the North American Championship match. But that's for the weakest. But nevertheless, still really fun, and it was the shortest match of the night. Only about 8 minutes. It's shot. Or 8 seconds, I should say. Shy compared to the pre-show match. Actually, the pre-show match I meant to say was 8 seconds longer than the North American Championship. I said it totally backward. Whereas it's late, but nevertheless, still a really fun show there. But nevertheless, that's going to do it for this review. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please do me a favor: like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, turn on those post notifications so you know every time I upload a video, so you never miss an upload. And let me know in the comments below your thoughts on NXT Stand and Deliver and my review. Do you like NXT Stand and Deliver? Do you like my review of NXT Stand and Deliver? Let me know. Thank you all so much for watching. I will see you guys later. Peace.